If you want to sprint faster, jump higher, or just become more powerful in your workouts, you need to train for explosiveness, not just strength. I'm an Olympian and trainer, and I use these exact methods I'm about to break down for you to become competition ready. This is something you can do if you're a beginner or you're advanced, and hopefully this will help you reach your goals. If that sounds interesting, keep watching. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cindy Sember. I have spent years trying to get faster, build strength, become more explosive, and I have learned a lot along the way. I've done a lot of trial and error. I've made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of setbacks, but through that process, I have been able to figure out what helps me get competition ready, to feel my best, and what helps me feel really fast when I want to train well. So today I'm gonna be sharing with you guys some drills and things you can start incorporating in your workouts if you aren't already, so that you can start to see more explosiveness and hopefully increase your speed. So what is explosive power? Explosive power is pretty much strength times speed. It's not just about lifting heavy, but it's about producing force fast. If you're trying to get on the ground running, you want to do it as quickly as possible. That's what helps athletes jump, sprint, lift heavy, and do all those things so that they can reach their goals a lot more easily. All right, so the first thing you want to do if you want to build explosive power is you want to build a base. What does building a base look like? Essentially, you want to start lifting weights, but you want to be strategic with what you're doing in the weight room. So for building a base, you want to focus on lifts such as deadlifts, squats, lunges, and presses. You want to do this with low to moderate reps, but with heavy weight. This is going to help your legs and your body just feel a lot more strong, and it's going to really help you build a base so that when we get to the latter part of getting more explosive, you will feel ready, you'll feel equipped, and you won't be injured because you just jumped right into it. So what I would recommend is start going to the gym about 3 times a week. Let's start with just 3. Some people like to do 4, some people do 5, depending on their goals, but let's start with 3 times a week and let's get those basic lifts in. So you want to do lower reps, nothing crazy like 10 and 12s, but low reps such as 5 to 6 reps, but you want your weight to feel a little bit heavier so that your body is getting used to that strength. So let's say you're going to the gym for the first time. You want to start off with, let's say, back squats. Okay, let's do about 5 sets of 5. If you know your 1 rep max, you 60 to 65% of your 1 rep max. So nothing crazy heavy, but you also want it to be a little bit taxing on your system so that, like I said earlier, we can produce that speed, produce that explosiveness later on in the season. But like I said, make sure to focus on the squats, the deadlifts, the lunges, just because these are going to be the primary lifts to help you build that strength. Later on, we're going to go into a little bit more faster lifts so that we can kind of use that power that we're building in the base to produce speed and to produce explosiveness. In my Olympic prep, I never skipped base training. This is something that's super essential because if I didn't do this, later on towards the end of my season, I will see that my base was not produced correctly. So whether that was I wasn't strong enough or I couldn't finish my race or I couldn't get through rounds, I can see that because the strength just wasn't there. So this base is going to be a base for injury prevention. It's going to be a base for races if you're your athlete competing, but it's also going to be a base just for longevity of training. So if you want to be able to train for long periods of time, you have to do this step. It's very, very important. Okay, so once you start to build a base, you want to start adding plyometrics. So plyometrics can look like ball tosses, hops, jumps, broad jumps, medicine ball throws. All these things are considered plyos, and this is just going to help you build that reactiveness. It's going to help your body and your central nervous system get used to what it feels like to be fast, to move direction, to add force quickly, which is explosiveness. Think of it as training your strength into speed. So all that strength you built up, you want to now use that and make that faster. And putting those two together will help you tremendously when you want to become more explosive, more powerful, and a lot faster. So once you have added the plyometrics and the base training, you then want to have Olympic lift variations. And I actually have a whole video on different Olympic lifts you guys can do, and I'll attach it above. But essentially, you want to start adding power cleans, snatches, presses, all of these things that are super quick because they're gonna help you translate that base strength into speed, and everything's gonna just start clicking for you. We use these training mechanisms because they help train triple extension, which is ankle, hip, and knee. And that essentially helps sprinters with their speed, and that helps the foundation of sprinting. Like I said earlier, I did a full video on this. So if you wanna go back and watch that, I explain pretty much what these lifts look like and why they're important and what you can do to start incorporating them into your daily workout regimen. Okay, Now that we've done these 3 things, the next thing I want you guys to focus on is sprint training. So sprint training is so important if you want to build explosiveness. So this can look like short intervals of 40s or 30s or even 20s. Sometimes we even do 10 meters of running. So what you want to do is you want to start line and just go quickly as much as you can. And essentially this is going to help you just get that explosive power out of the blocks, and this is going to make you feel fast. So I might do 3 sets of 40-meter runs, but I also give myself a nice little break in between so that I can kind of replenish that energy system and feel good again so that I'm ready to kind of produce that power. So you don't want to do this so much to the point where you're, going fast and then doing it again in 10 seconds and then going fast. That's a different system you're training. You're going to be training more of your endurance side, but if you're trying to become more explosive, you want the breaks to be a little bit longer so that you have replenished your energy so that you can do it again even faster. And that's going to help tap into that system that's going to get you those times and those places that you're looking for. So I highly recommend starting to train in sprints. You also can start incorporating hills. So if you aren't already, start doing more hill work and things like that. So if you're going to go up a hill, you want to do that for short distances, sometimes long, but like I said, if we're not trying to do more endurance work, we're just trying to do explosiveness, you want to do those for about, anywhere from like 20 meters to about 100 meters. That's going to really, really help you. Nothing trains power like sprinting. I don't know another workout that really can get you really explosive other than sprinting, but this is going to be such the key to just feeling more explosive. And another thing I like to do is intervals. So something I'll do is I'll do like walking and then running really fast and then walking and running really fast. And that kind of keeps you in shape, but it also helps you feel more explosive. So if you're just trying to figure out, okay, how can I feel explosive with my workouts? Just do it in an interval fashion, and that can be really helpful as well. Even if you're not a sprinter, short sprints can light up your nervous system and really make you feel explosive. So if you're a distance runner or you're somebody who just wants to get more explosive in general, then just doing these even at the end of your workouts, at the beginning of your workouts, will overall help you just get more explosive and more powerful. And that's going to be really, really helpful. It's also going to help you stay in shape, you guys. Building explosive power builds lean muscle mass like no man's business, because all the things I just told you, building the base, adding plyometric work, adding Olympic lift variations, all these things are so helpful when it comes to building lean muscle mass. So even if you're just trying to do it in such a way where you want to become a lot more lean and just start looking more defined, then start incorporating this. There's a reason you see sprinters and people who run shorter distances look very toned, because they're doing all these steps I'm telling you, and it makes a difference to their bodies. So even if it's just for aesthetics, I honestly promise you that can make a big difference as well. Okay, now the next thing I want you to focus on if you're trying to become more explosive is your core and stability. So your core is so important to just feel explosive. If you don't have a strong core, then trying to do anything quickly is going to be a lot harder, because you're going to be kind of wobbly. Your body's not going to feel very just stationed. It's going to feel all over the place. So we have to focus on our core if we want to see progress with our explosiveness. How do we do this? Well, abs obviously is a very common one. People like to do a lot of ab work, and I actually have a whole core video on here if you want to start incorporating more of that. I'll attach that as well. You also can do a lot more, explosive work, whether it is, ball rotation throws or things that are moving your body in a way where your core is getting strong, but you're also exploding at the same time. So whether it's you're doing a sit-up and you're exploding with a medicine ball as you come up. So maybe you have a partner and you're doing, your sit-ups and you're throwing it to them. That's a really good way of building core strength, but also building explosive power at the same time. So just be creative with what you're doing with your abs in order to do that. But there are lots of things you can do to strengthen your core, but you don't want to just focus on, your basic crunches or planks. Like, those are really good, and I'm not saying they're not important. Literally do them. That's what I'm telling you to do. But you also want to incorporate that explosiveness within those things if you can. So if you can, incorporate core and plyometrics, then you're putting two pieces of the puzzle together that are going to act so well for your system. Strong core equals better transfer of power from lower to upper body. This is one thing I had to focus on to stay injury-free at the highest level. So if you don't focus on having a strong core, you can put yourself at risk for being injured. Nobody wants to be injured, okay? I've had a lot of injuries in my time, and they're not fun. They set you back. You feel like you're not making progress, start to, feel out of shape. There's just so many negatives of it. So if you want to really do all these things I'm telling you without getting injured, then get that core strong. Get that core strong, work on it more, and I promise you, you will be so happy with yourself, because not only will you feel stronger and be able to do more, but you also look good, okay? When your core is strong, you start to look good, you start to get more lean, and things just start to feel better. So definitely start to get your core very stable. So the next thing I want you to focus on, and I talk a lot about this in all my videos, is rest and recovery. So your central nervous system needs rest in order to function properly. Power needs a fresh central nervous system, and in order to have a fresh one, you have to rest. One of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people making is they turn their explosive workouts into cardio workouts. And you don't want that. You want to give yourself rest in between your sets, like I said earlier, because if you're not doing that, you can't actually give it your full energy. If you look at a sprinter workout and a distance workout, you'll see that they might do very similar things. They might have like a 200 workout, but they're doing 200s on repeat. Like the distance runners might run a 200, take 10 seconds, run another 200, take 10 seconds, run another 200, because they're training a different system. For somebody who's trying to become more explosive, they're gonna do a 200 a lot faster, mind you, and they're gonna take like sometimes even 10 minutes in between. But if you're going all out into a way where you really wanna rebuild that and you want your times to be amazing, then you might have just 3 of those that day, but you're just gonna do 3 extremely fast with a lot of rest, and that's gonna help you build that explosiveness. Don't get me wrong, you need the cardio in order to be explosive. So that's another thing kind of back in the beginning when I said building a base. You can't become explosive if you don't have a base when it comes to training as well. So like I said, the hills, the longer workouts, those endurance workouts, you've got to have that up front in order to get to this point. If you don't, you can get yourself injured, you can feel like crap, you won't be explosive. You'll just kind of do everything very lackadaisically. So focusing on that will be helpful for you if you're trying to build more explosiveness, become faster, and just become a lot more forceful. So the next thing I want to talk a little bit about is periodization. What is periodization? Periodization is pretty much having a plan as to how often and how much you're going to do these things and when you're going to taper off. So tapering is just taking something off or lessening pretty much what you're doing so that you can add another interval within your plan. So for periodization, what I want you guys to do is I want you to focus on adding each of these things in increments, okay? I don't want you to try to add all this right away because one, it's not gonna help you. As an Olympian and somebody who's trained at the highest level, when we don't have a good periodization plan, then you can peak too early. So I might be explosive, but I might be explosive in the wrong month. And then when it comes 2 months later, I'm not explosive enough. So like I said, you wanna start with building a base. So this might take like a month or 2. And then after the base, you wanna add plyometrics, and this might take another month. And then after that, you wanna add the cleans and the quick lifts and all that stuff. So you want to be strategic with how you're doing it. And if you want a good plan for you, I work with people one-on-one. I work with athletes. I work with people who want to get in shape. I'll have the description below. I can help you make a plan for you that will help you get more explosive, get faster, get more in shape, all those things, and just in a way that makes sense for your lifestyle. You want to blend your speed with your explosive work in a way that works cohesively. Like I said, you don't want to just say, okay, I'm going to get all these things done within the next 4 weeks so that I can get more explosive, because you're opening yourself up for burnout, and it's just really hard to stay consistent that way. You want to make sure your body adapts, because that is something I know that if I'm not careful of, I will get so sore to the point where I just can't continue for the rest of the season, and it becomes so hard to make progress. A quick personalized story from me. So when I was younger and I was starting off trying to get more explosive and just feel a lot more powerful, I would do a lot of drills, and one of my favorite ones was hurdle hops. I used to love this one. I had a love and hate relationship with this one because I would get scared that I would hit and fall, but it was just so much fun to feel like kind of like a bunny rabbit, and that was a really good one to kind of get off the ground and to feel really good. But I would do hurdle hops so much with my coaches, and this was a good thing for me, don't get me wrong. It really helped me, especially with coming out the blocks, or if I'm in the middle of a race, towards the end of my race, getting more explosive and getting into a new gear. That really helped with that. However, when I started doing a lot of plyos and I wasn't really cognizant of how my body was adjusting to it, especially after I got injured. So I had a Achilles rupture in 2017, and I continued those plyometrics knowing that my ankle mobility had changed, and that led to a bad knee. So you want to be careful with doing plyometrics, not overdoing them like I did, and listening to your body. You can still become explosive and be fast without doing some of these movements. I had to take out some movements in order to keep myself healthy. So you just want to be cognizant of how your body is shaped, what you might be dealing with. If you have knee issues, be cognizant of that. If you have limited ankle mobility, be cognizant of that as well. Like, I want you to be just aware of your body and how it feels, and just kind of experiment for what works for you. But like I said, if you have a good coach or somebody helping you one-on-one, this can help take out the guesswork for you. So definitely look into having somebody kind of coach you through this and help you so that you feel more well equipped and more prepared to get those times and those speeds that you want. So that is how you build explosive power like an athlete. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below what you want to work on this year. Are you trying to become more explosive? Are you just trying to drop a time? Are you trying to get better at your workouts? What is it that you want to work on? I would love to hear it down in the comments and encourage you. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe for more content just like this. This page is focused on becoming a healthier you, fitness, workouts, all that good stuff, and some behind the scenes too to keep it a little interesting. So if you guys like it, definitely subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye for now.